we have some big breaking news that just hit. If you haven't heard it yet, Marine Corps veteran, national hero Daniel Penny is a free man. We had some sweating last Friday when we learned that the jury was deadlocked on the higher level charge, manslaughter. The state of New York dismissed that charge to try to trick the jury into some sort of compromise guilty verdict on a lower charge of negligent homicide, and it failed. They came in today, and after just a short time deliberating, we heard they have a unanimous verdict. Myself and a lot of my friends thought, oh no, are they going to convict him? And the answer is no. They just delivered a unanimous not guilty verdict for Daniel Penny. The state of New York's effort to ruin his life, to put him in jail for years, if not more than a decade, has failed. We can all celebrate today. I think we can agree this is the biggest courtroom win for an ordinary American since Kyle Rittenhouse a few years ago. And we're doing our best to get a reporter who was inside the courtroom when this came down. Until then, do we have Jack?
Yo.
Jack, welcome, Jack. We have Jack Posobiec joining us. Can you hear us?
I've got you, Blake. What's going on?
Excellent, Jack. This is a great day.
This is huge. This is a huge moment for America, and I want people to be very clear that this is just 4 years after the George Floyd racial reckoning moment, which, Blake, I know you and Charlie have discussed so many times, that this comes at a time where just a couple of years ago, right, a case like this with the racially charged overtones where people were saying, oh, this is a white man and a black man, where in many instances in New York, particularly under DA Alvin Bragg, who is a Soros-backed DA, the same guy who went after Donald Trump in the same jurisdiction where they're going after Steve Bannon this February, was putting all this together, and so many people looked at the video and said it's a clear case of self-defense. It's an obvious case of self-defense. There was even a case last year where a guy stabbed someone to death on the subway, and those charges were dismissed because that was, again, self-defense regarding a homeless person that was acting crazy on the subway. The only difference was, in that case, the individual was black. In this case, the individual was white, and so he had the book thrown at him. No, Daniel Penny, we have to understand this is a moment for the country. This is a moment for I don't want to say the movement. This is just the mood of the country, the moment for society, a moment where people can say, you know what, we do want to live in a country that has rules, that has standards. Obviously, it was a terrible situation. It was a situation that nobody wanted to be in, a situation that nobody wanted anyone in. But instead, we have a situation now where people can get up and say, you know what, we're sick and tired of the crime. And so I had heard last week from, take it with a grain of salt, but I had heard that there was some rumor going around the DA's office there in Manhattan that the jury, yes, while they were deadlocked, the deadlock was actually towards acquitting even last week, and that it was 10-2, and that there were only 2 holdouts saying that they wanted to find him guilty. Now, this was on the earlier second-degree manslaughter charge. Today, it was the essentially involuntary manslaughter charge. They call it something a little bit differently in New York. But, Blake, here's my question. Because and this is more of a legal question, because that first charge was dismissed and not ruled on, could that charge still be brought? I don't necessarily think that they're going to, but is that a possibility?
My understanding is no, that because they went through the whole trial, at that point, in legal parlance, jeopardy had attached. And so it would be double jeopardy to try to bring the charge again at this point. Because otherwise, you could say, the trial's not going well, the jury doesn't look good, dismiss it and refile it. So that would be abusive. So I think Penny is golden on the New York legal front. The vulnerabilities would be a federal charge against him, which I think very safe to say that won't be happening with President Trump in charge. If anyone tried to bring that, I think we would get them turfed out pretty quickly. The other possibility would be a civil case against him. That's still sadly a possibility. Neely's family could sue. Yeah. He might. Yeah. Now that you say that,
I believe
he probably already is.
But I do believe that they've filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Penny in the case. So walk us through, and by the way, that would be something, and I haven't talked to anyone about this, but I do know that there's that give, send, go, and we, I guess, a year and a half ago when this happened, I think it was May of 23, please make sure that you're still giving to the Give, Send, Go for Daniel Penny. I'll go find it and post it on my Twitter accounts, up on X, and across my social medias. And while this is a great day, and we're going to talk about this, and there's a lot that's going into this. There's been a lot that, it certainly goes with the current mood of the country right now, where I think people are sick of wokeness, they're sick of social justice, they want to get away from this stuff, and more importantly, they want to get away from crime. We want to live in a place where, and Stephen Miller was at the Turning Point event, this incredible Turning Point event at Mar-a-Lago last weekend, last Saturday night. I know Charlie was in rare form that night, and it was an incredible celebration. Stephen Miller got up and spoke, and he said, every single American, regardless of your background, has the right to live in safe cities and safe neighborhoods. You should be able to ride a train in this country, in one of America's greatest cities, New York City, without having to worry about you, your family, and your children being accosted. And unfortunately, in this situation, someone did accost them, but you had a hero named Daniel Penny who didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he did everything right. But I do want to also point out that because of this lawsuit that's still going on, please go and check out the Give, Send, Go for Daniel Penny, because it does look like he's still facing some legal repercussions on that front.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be watching that. We obviously care that Daniel Penny get his life on track as much as possible, and that goes beyond just beating these unjust charges. But as we like to say, today is a day for celebrating. This is a victory for ordinary Americans. This is a victory for ordinary, everyday heroes. This is a proof that America both still creates heroes and that America can still honor and defend heroes rather than destroying them. So this is a very happy day. I think we can all agree this is a day worth celebrating, and I'm sure we also, maybe we haven't seen the last of Daniel Penny in our movement. We'll see. I imagine a lot of people will be getting to work on that front. As you said, another big win here. We already see it on X. People are saying this is the day BLM dies, the movement that sort of terrorized America, that said, if you don't listen to us, we will burn your stores, we will burn your city, we will make your cities unlivable. They demanded that Penny go to prison. They were, just this morning, they were protesting so loudly that on the 13th floor of the courthouse where the jury was deliberating, their chants demanding that Penny go to prison could be heard. There were arguments that that would be grounds for a mistrial all on its own. But if the jury was able to hear those protests, they ignored them, they didn't care, and BLM's ability to just terrorize the country is broken, I think. Like, people understand this is a con job, this is a scam, this is bad people who want bad things to happen to America.
And Blake, I do have a report from this guy, Matthew Russell Lee. He covers a lot of these cases. He goes into the courtrooms and live tweets them, and he's not one side or the other. He's very straight down the middle. And he tweeted that when the not guilty charge came out, that from the Penny side, there was applause, there was cheering. The judge asked them to be quiet. And I'm just going to read what it says. From the Neely side, someone said, "Gonna be killed." The judge instructed that person to be taken out. Then someone else from the Neely side or someone else or the same person responded, "It's a small world, buddy. It's a racist country." So it sounds like there were people who were even threatening Penny inside the courtroom.